the maker of Some Sweet. All these little hairs everywhere. That's some sweet. That's some sweet. The most spectacular sweetener, I like to say, that is on the market. Yes, indeed. And I am um, also the founder of SAIR Nutritional Therapy, SAIRNT. That stands for, and I don't know who's calling me. I am the founder of SAIRNT, that is SAIR Nutritional Therapy. And so, yes, so very excited to be with you all today in this new year. Isn't that fantastic? I mean, wow, we crossed over, well, into a new year. So, we do have a very special guest with us today. Just want to finish up doing a little housekeeping while I get him, excuse me, into the back room here. So, gonna invite him on into the back room, and then he will be joining us here shortly. So, yes, so new year, lots of stuff going on, lots and lots of stuff going on, and I'm just like, I'm really excited for what's going to occur this year. So, yes. So if you bear with me just one moment, because I do, um, I'm trying to queue up our guest here in the back room, make sure that that he knows what's going on, because that was a call coming in there from him. I want to remind you all to drink your water. You need four bottles per day. So we're gonna do that, and oh, you know how I have all this stuff on the phone. So let me pull this up. So let me see if he got his invite. So send that off and see what happens. Yes. Okay. So sorry about that. Sorry. So yeah. So I'm just so excited here for what's going on this year. Lots and lots of things, and man, did I have a little scary incident today? You know. So I okay. So I was just a lot of stuff going on. I can't wait to share with you guys. I had, I can tell you that I did Lisa's face, and then I had to make some changes with that. So, still getting all that stuff together. But we're here. We're here. So, if you don't know what your risk is for type 2 diabetes, please go over to the American Diabetes Association and take the assessment over there, and that will tell you what your risk is for type 2 diabetes, or and like that. And also, I hope I'm not freezing. Okay, because I just looked and I just like saw myself freezing there. Yeah. So also, yeah, go over there and take your assessment, so that you can know what your risk is. And then while we're getting ready to bring on our guests, I want you to know that you can always listen to the restream of this. We go live on on HAPS. We go at SAIRNT, Facebook at SAIRNT, YouTube at SAIRNT, and when we get to 1,000 subscribers, we will be going live on TikTok at SAIRNT. We're also live on Twitch at SAIRNT. And on Instagram at Some Sweet Foods, and Twitter at Some Sweet Foods. So, yes, just trying to be like every place where you all are at. Also, final thing, or not final, but final thing, you can also get the podcast at wherever you get your streaming podcast from. I don't know what you call it, platform, streaming, whatever, wherever you get your podcast. we're there. And if we're not there, say, hey, you guys aren't over there, because that is at SAIRNT, SAIR Nutritional Therapy. Sugar addiction is real nutritional therapy. SAIRNT. All right, so I do believe that our guest is queued up and he is backstage waiting to come on and share with us. Our guest is Vernon Davis, and he is an author. And let's get ready to welcome our guest. Yes.
Hey, good evening, good evening, good
Hi.
evening.
Good evening. Okay, I'm waiting. My screen is freezing and all that good stuff. So yeah. Okay, there we go. It still looks like it's kind of freezing, but are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. So, we just want to welcome you to the broadcast today. And so, everyone, this is Vernon Davis. He is an author, and he's going to share with us his story, his journey, his to getting healthy and fighting against type 2 diabetes. So, I'm so excited, and you're going to share with us about your book and all of that good stuff what you have going on. So, welcome, 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 welcome.
All right, thank you so
Floor
much
is
for having
yours.
me.
Floor is yours. Tell us
Oh,
who you are and start telling us your story.
yeah, so again, my name is Vernon Davis. I'm a former soda drunk. Soda and juice is a huge part of my daily consumption as it relates to liquids. So I got a lot of my sugar in each and every day, and it's from a very young age. I'm a
Uh-huh.
father of one, loving and faithful husband, a dedicated son, brother, grandson as well. And just on a mission to share with the world, what it is that I did to reverse type 2 diabetes naturally in my own body, and kind of push the information that unfortunately a lot of medical professionals are not,
Hmm.
pushing that are that's beneficial for us before us all.
Right.
So growing up, I developed an addiction to food. Food was my comfort. Food and sugary drinks. If I was stressed out, there was food that I would go to: pizza, hot
Hmm.
dogs, burgers, tacos, nachos, and different drinks. Peach knee high and Fago Peach being two of my favorite sodas that I would consume, and then there was various fruit punch drinks that I would consume as well.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
things really got worse for me when I went to college, when I just had more access to food. I mean, in the cafeteria at Grambling State
Yeah.
University, I learned very quick that all my meals are going to be buffet style. And so, if I could just make it, through, my morning classes, that transition from high school to college, and the pace,
Right.
being a transition for me as well. If I could just make it through those morning classes and make it a lunch, I could pig out, and kind of recharge my mind. At least so I thought. That's
Right.
what would
Right.
be the situation for me. And so, but I just went overboard when it came to calorie consumption, and I got a job a couple of years into college, and that afforded me the opportunity to be able to purchase various foods off campus at
Hmm.
various hours of the night when the cafeteria was closed, and yeah, just rely heavily on food to be that comfort for me. Fast
Right.
forward to a professional. During the pandemic, I was, fortunate enough to be working from home, and with working from home came, the kitchen at home and everything that was in it. Um,
Yeah.
so I would, go crazy on my leftovers that me and my wife had from the night before, and there would be none for dinner the next day because I would eat it all for breakfast and lunch, and
Hmm.
yeah, just spiraled out of control. To kind of get
Yeah.
to the point of the matter, I avoided going to the doctor for many years, and I found every excuse I could to not go.
Uh-huh.
Because I didn't, at one point I didn't have insurance, so I didn't want to go for even a checkup, a physical at other free clinics. At one point I did have insurance with the company that I was working for, but I was traveling so much, and so I didn't want to make an appointment to go to
Right.
a doctor because I didn't know if I would be in town to be able to go to that appointment. Mind you, my supervisor was very good at giving me the time off that I needed for any personal matter, but I still made that
Hmm.
excuse,
Right.
and a host of other excuses along. After my wife 2019, she urged me to go to the doctor to get a checkup, and so I
Hmm.
went. I really didn't get much information on that checkup. It's really
Okay.
more of an introduction session between me and the physician that I was seeing at the time, and
Mhm.
we set up a follow up appointment to see him again in December of 2019. And
Right.
I don't remember why I opted not to go. I would imagine it had something to do with work, but I don't remember. But I canceled my appointment, and then the next month is when we started working from home due to the pandemic. So this was now January of 2020, and
Right.
during that time, from January 2020 up through July 2020, I know I packed on at least 25 pounds.
Mhm.
I started experiencing excessive urination, feeling like I couldn't hold my urine, but it wasn't a big deal at the time because I was
Right.
at home and my workstation was near our restroom, and so I didn't really worry about it. My sleep pattern was horrible. I needed naps frequently through the day just to be able to function.
Mhm.
I didn't know it at the time, but there was a pain in my side that ended up finding out that was related to stage one kidney disease. I
Oh,
had
wow.
tingling in my fingers, tingling in my toes, tingling in my left leg and my right, excuse me, in my left eye. I had a blurred vision, but my right eye wasn't blurred. And so I was
Mhm.
confused on that, but it still wasn't enough for me to go to the doctor.
Right.
Well, in July of 2020, my wife and I took a road trip to Michigan to attend a wedding for one of my best friends, and on that road trip, I continuously pulled over on the side of the interstate to urinate because
Mhm.
I felt like I couldn't hold it. I couldn't make it to the next convenience store or the next fast food restaurant or even a
Right.
hotel, to be able to use the restroom in the hotel lobbies. I couldn't make it, and that's when I realized that okay, I think I really have a problem. I've never felt that before so consistently to where, man, I
Right.
feel like I can't hold it. I feel like I'm gonna embarrass myself. And so, after the wedding, we came back to our home, and my wife had urged me to go to a doctor.
Okay.
And I did have an appointment set up with my primary care physician at the time, but he canceled
Mhm.
on me as he did multiple times throughout 2020 due to the pandemic. At the time, they
Right.
weren't doing virtual visits, and so I was happy that he canceled because I didn't want to go. I didn't want
Yeah.
to find out any bad news. My wife,
Right.
she wasn't as happy, and she did not settle for that. So
Mhm.
she did tell me I needed to find somewhere to go, and I found a local clinic to go to. Didn't need an appointment, and I had already imagined that they were going to share some negative news with me, and so to kind of emphasize
Mhm.
on the hold that food and sugary drinks had over me, I chose to go to a local convenience store the morning of my appointment. I purchased 5 drinks.
Wow.
Four of them were fountain drinks. Of those four, two of them were fruit punch drinks, and then the other two were sodas. And then the fifth
Mhm.
drink was like a frozen slush, and
The
just had
Slurpee.
yeah, it was like a Slurpee. Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
And so I set those in the front of my vehicle. In the front seat of my vehicle so that they're there for me once my appointment was over. That way, I had something to soothe me immediately upon
Mhm.
any bad news that I was to get. And while I was in my appointment, I share with the doctor all of my symptoms, and he took some blood and ran some tests on my blood, took a urine sample, ran some tests on my urine, and he casually came back into the small space there and said, "Hey, man, you're feeling this way and you're experiencing these things because you're a type 2 diabetic." And I was in
Not
disbelief.
pre-diabetic.
Not pre. No, no. I was
Okay.
far past pre.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
far past pre. My A1C level was greater than 15.5. So I was
Okay.
very, very far past pre. And you
Wow.
had to ask him to repeat that because I was just in disbelief. I knew diabetes to be the sugars. And so I'm like, nah, I can't
Yeah.
have the sugars.
Right.
And, he repeated it and, gave me he wrote up a prescription for a particular medication, and he sent me on my way. Man, tears flowing down my eye, down my face, and I was just shocked. That this was the news that I
Right.
received,
Right.
and so I remember taking a sip of the one of the fruit punch drinks, and threw all those drinks away after that one sip. That was the last day I've had soda or juice. I've only drank water since then.
Good.
And I called my wife, called my mom, so I can inform my mom and my dad, what was going on, and they
Mhm.
all cried, and but once I hung up with them, something in me said, make a phone call to two of your friends, and so I did. I called up my friend Tony Lee, who
Mhm.
just so happened to have been a personal trainer. Share with him, what I was told, and he reassured me that he was going to assist me in every way that he could to better my
Okay.
overall health and to heal my body. But it was going to take some work, and it was going to be
Okay.
challenging. But he'll be there with me. And then I called another friend of mine by the name of Breon, who's a herbalist, and he'll reassure me of the same thing. Going to help you heal your body, but it's going to be challenging. And so those outside of my family, those two gentlemen became my immediate accountability partners. I started doing some self education. I learned about the
Mhm.
I won't mention the name of it, but the medication that they prescribed me. I started learning about it and realized
Mhm.
that the side effects seem to be much more harmful than the overall illness itself. And so, I opted not to use the medication. And then I started learning about natural herbs, started learning about what foods to stay away from and what foods to incorporate in my daily regimen. I started learning about, the best time of the
Mhm.
day for me to eat,
Okay.
how much to eat. I started learning about water and the different variations of water, how water
Mhm.
can differ from company to company, and I put together a regimen for myself as far as food was concerned on what I was going to intake and the times in which I would take that food in. My
Mhm.
friend Breon, he has shared with me more about natural herbs, and then I did my own research on them as well, and drew a
Okay.
conclusion on what I was going to incorporate in my daily regimen as it relates to natural herbs, and that has helped out a ton. And Tony Lee, he had shared with me due to the pandemic, we couldn't meet up in person, couldn't go to a gym to work out, but he
Mhm.
reassured me if I trusted him, I would experience success. And so I said, okay.
Okay.
And he said, hey, I'm going to have you work out on your patio. And I told him, well, that's fine, but I don't have any equipment. And he told me I didn't need any.
Okay.
And so, I was a bit reluctant because it
Mhm.
just didn't make sense, but I was desperate. And so I gave it a try. And, I was able to yield, dividends when it came to, following both of their advice and keeping them
Fantastic.
informed, throughout, my week to week, just my decision making. I mean, there were times where I had emotional breakdowns for sure. I mean, setbacks.
Mhm.
I had to learn that setbacks were going to be a part of the journey, and thankfully, it were minor setbacks, but setbacks nonetheless. And every time I had a emotional moment and made a decision where I went and got a burger that I knew I wasn't supposed to have, or something of
Mhm.
that nature, I'd give them a call, let them both know what was going on, and we'll talk through it. And they were very
That's
encouraging, and
great.
we got back to the regular scheduled program. My wife
That's good.
haven't had my back the entire time. She's very supportive from the day I was diagnosed up till now, because it is still a journey that I'm on. I'll never consider myself to have arrived or be finished because it takes a daily decision to continue to press on towards optimal health. And if I
Yes.
choose not to, I can fall back into the same situation I was in. And 5 months after my diagnosis, I had lost 50 pounds of weight in a healthy
Yay!
way, all
Good.
natural. In 15 months after my diagnosis, I got my A1C down over 10 points. So I'm back in the 5 range now, thankfully.
Mhm.
And my blood glucose level rather, is down 397 points. So grateful
Good.
for that. And I'm just
So they told
taking it a
you
day at a
you
time.
reversed. They
I am
told
reversed,
you
yes, ma'am.
you reversed. Yes, yes, yes. So let me ask you. You said you said so your thing was sugary drinks. So I want everybody to hear that because like, and that includes juices too, because
Yeah,
there's lots of sugar in juices as well, and especially when they do the juices and they add sugar to them. So I just want to point that out. But you said that when you went and you got your numbers, they were you said you were 300 and something, right? And so you were at this point. I kind of want to go because I tell everybody if you don't know whether or not you're at risk for type 2 diabetes, go over to the American Diabetes Association and take their assessment to see what your risk is. So before you were even before you even hit the diabetic stage, what were some, did you have any indications along the way? Because I know you mentioned you were having the tingling, the problem with your eye. and things like that. But did you have any other little symptoms that you go, oh, that was that, and you were ignoring that? Because you mentioned some of the biggies that were frequent urination and the vision problems. But did you have any other little symptoms that were along the way that you were thinking that something could be wrong? You said a pain in your side as well.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. I had a pain in my side. I had no idea it was a stage one kidney disease. So yeah, those are all the things that I felt, but I had no knowledge of diabetes symptoms, and so I
Mm-hmm.
had no reason to even think, okay, this might be related to diabetes, because
Mm-hmm.
I chose to be ignorant to chronic illnesses in general. I felt like it's
Mm-hmm.
not something that could have happened to me, and I
Right.
talk about that in my book. Choosing to do different things to intentionally sweat and eat a certain way, I felt like I was immune to self-inflicted illnesses, especially that of type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetes for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
not knowing all the while, I was actually, hurting my body and again,
Mm-hmm.
well past the pre-diabetic stage by the time I found out. And my blood glucose level was actually 476
Okay.
when I was diagnosed. I remember they recommended that I go to the emergency room, but I was too emotional to do anything else and see
Right.
another doctor that day, and so I opted not to. And I'm glad I didn't. I feel like if I would have went, I probably would have, given in to them recommending giving me something immediately, like insulin or something. And I am proud to say again that I've used no medication for this, and it's all been all natural. My
Right.
blood
Right.
glucose level is down to 79.
So I'm just going to ask you. You don't have to mention the name, but did it start with the M? Is that what he gave you? He started you with? Was it a
Uh,
pill, or was it a
that is
shot?
what he prescribed me, yes, ma'am. But I never
Okay.
used it. It did start with an M, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we know all about that over here. But we're not going to promote anything or say anything about that. But yeah. So what were some of the herbs and things? Because we know you said you started exercising. So what were some of the herbs and things that you started to use that you were doing? Because I mean, like we can kind of figure, like exercise, but like the herbs and things that you started to do to change all of this to reverse your type 2 diabetes.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, primarily it was sea moss gel, which
Okay.
had a mixture of sea moss and bladderwrack, two sea vegetables, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
black seed oil
Okay.
was also used consistently in my
Okay.
regimen, and elderberry.
Okay.
Elderberry was paramount for me as well in healing my organs and boosting my immune system.
Okay. And so, you said you were, they said what, stage one or early stages of kidney disease,
Stage
and
one.
stage one. Okay. And so did you get your kidneys checked? Did that reverse itself as well?
Oh yeah, my
Or,
kidneys are in great order. Yes, ma'am. They sure are.
okay.
Both of them.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Fantastic. I mean, wow. Wow. See, everybody, that's what, I think that we really don't realize how fast that this can, like, it like takes a long time, to happen. But then once the damages start to be done, it just bam, it snowballs quickly, quickly, quickly.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. It's just one incident can shoot your blood sugar up, and then that just opens the floodgate for everything else to start happening. And we don't even realize that. I mean, we've had several guests on here that tell us about they had no idea, like it was like everything was fine, and then all of a sudden, it was just like you said, were having that frequent urination, but it wasn't like really really bad. And then when you hit the road, it was like, man, you can't, you gotta go every single time. And then it's like people don't, I don't think we don't really realize that, how how it happens so fast. Let me ask you something. So when you were eating, and because we like this, because I like to tell people, like, every time you eat, you spike your blood sugar. So how many meals a day were you eating, like through the course of time? Like, like were you a grazer, or were you just like three big meals, or how was your diet at that time, and how is your diet now?
Yeah. So, are you talking about prior to diagnosis? How was my diet?
Yeah, prior to
Okay.
diagnosis, yeah.
Whew.
And then how is it
um,
now? Yeah.
yeah. So prior to diagnosis, I just ate whenever I saw food.
Okay.
I tried to stay try to make sure I kept the breakfast, lunch, and dinner time frame of having a meal. But even
Mhm.
outside of that, getting another burger and fries, stopping by Chick-fil-A and getting a sandwich and fries. If I had to stop and get gas, I would stop and get chips and soda as well and candy, just to get something because it was there and because I was able to.
Mhm.
When go grocery shopping, buy a lot of snacks to be able to have the snacks through the night. For whenever I got up to use the restroom,
Mhm.
and that was actually very frequent. Getting up to use the restroom, and I just never thought it was a problem because I was
Right.
drinking a lot of soda and juice and some water. It's like, oh, okay, well, just getting the liquids out.
Right.
That's how I was then. And then when I, found out I was type 2 diabetic, and put myself on a regimen. I ate in a 4-hour window each day, and I had small meals. I have a smoothie with certain fruits and vegetables in them, and natural herbs as well. And it took some getting used to for sure.
Mhm.
It took some time to be able to condition myself and say, okay, I'm satisfied. So I'd have that. I'd have different kind of fruits to snack on during that time frame.
Mhm.
I'd have a light lunch with a salad or grilled vegetables with brown rice or quinoa. And then I have a salad in the early afternoon as well. Still all within that 4-hour window.
Uh-huh.
You
Uh-huh.
know, if I couldn't fight the urge, the hunger urge, and I'd eat like some fruit or I'd make another smoothie. And then in addition to that, there were times where I was emotional and I gave in to consuming certain things in the late evening that I knew I shouldn't have. My wife was
Mhm.
having dinner, and she got something that she liked. If she didn't finish it, I would finish it for her.
Mhm.
And at times I will feel regretful, and I have to make some phone calls to my accountability partners, but
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
had to push it even harder the next day with working out.
And that's important that you said that you mentioned that you had two friends that you could go to, and I mean you were really blessed to have those two friends to go to that were like that could slot right in and help you. And a lot of people don't have those kind of accountability partners to be able like those call a friend and stuff like that. So you were really blessed to have that. But if and I say to say to you all, if you do not have somebody, you just look. I don't have nobody, but I gotta pay a personal trainer, which I gotta start back to doing because I just said that today. I gotta get me a new personal trainer because I moved away from where mine was, so now I have to get me a new one in my area where I'm at now. But yeah, I gotta go pay a personal trainer because that's what I need, because that's the only thing that's gonna cause me that's what like I know I got a gym membership. I paid for the gym membership, but I don't want to go. I'm not inspired to go use it. I need the personal trainer for as my accountability partner.
Yeah,
Yeah. So what you had there and having a personal trainer is like that's spot on. Accountability partner is somebody to help you. Especially for me, like I'm a I'm a nutritional therapist. It kind of just doesn't work. The nutrition part is like, I kind of have to rewire my brain to go, see somebody because like when I know what it is that I should be doing and stuff like that. But that's absolutely, you're spot on with that. Having a personal accountability partners and trainers and things like that. Because man, if we don't have it, look, we didn't hold ourselves accountable for all for all that time. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So then when you get to where you need it, you gotta have somebody. So you were fortunate to have that. So tell us about your book because you mentioned that in your book. You talk a little bit about that. So, what's the first? Tell us the name of your book, and is it available now to be able to get your book? Because I was looking at it and I was like, it was saying that it wasn't quite available, but is it available now? And tell us all the good stuff about that.
yes, ma'am. So my book title is Uncomfortable Peace. It is available on Amazon right now. Yesterday we actually hit a number one in the new release
Ooh,
category for diabetes. So we're very fortunate
oh, great, great.
to have that screenshot. I mean, I think it does fluctuate each day, but as of yesterday, and I checked again today, we were number one on the new release
Oh,
for diabetes books. And so, very fortunate in that we have the electronic option for the ebook, and then we have the paperback option as well.
okay.
And it really details, what led to my diagnosis. So, Years and years of just choosing to eat horrible, choosing to be deceitful even to myself when it came to
Hmm.
food, and kind of the running into a wall, if you
Right.
will, at the doctor's office on that day, and finding out what was going on with me, and the decisions that I made from that day up to present time, to have experienced the success that I've experienced, to
Hmm.
feel better, to look better, for my numbers to be extremely better than what they were, and for my doctor that I go see now to have no concerns for my overall health.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, oh God, I had a question, and I was just like gonna say that um, let me think here for a minute because my brain just said, "Zip," and just went blank on me. I had one question. I was thinking now, your title. What made you come up with the title "Uncomfortable Peace"? What's the story behind the title?
Yeah, great question. So originally, it was going to be called couch potato. And
Okay.
as I thought about it, while I was a couch potato, it just wasn't as fitting for what the entirety of the book was about.
Okay.
The book was about stepping out of my comfort zone to be able to obtain peace, a
Hmm.
peace of mind, more than anything. That hey, I'm okay. I'm making the best decisions for my body, which in turn has an effect on the trajectory of my family, and
Right.
making good decisions as it relates to my family long term. And so I realized that getting up out of bed at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to go work out on my patio, to jog in my neighborhood, to be intentional about what I purchase at the grocery store, to eat a certain time of day, to consume some foods that don't taste that well. It's all uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but it allowed for me to be able to obtain a level of peace that I haven't experienced since I was a young child, when I had decent health. I didn't
Yeah.
have to worry about being overweight as a young child. It wasn't until I started getting a bit older and more and
Hmm.
more greedy, and developing addiction to food. So that's where uncomfortable peace comes from.
Okay. Okay. Does anybody in your that was the question I had. Does anybody in your family have diabetes, type 2 diabetes? Do you have any family
So
members?
extended family, I was familiar with some of them having what they call the sugars, and
Hmm.
those family members had limbs, that had to be taken off, and they
Yeah.
and they eventually passed away. But not in my immediate family.
Hmm.
Had no one to my knowledge been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and I think not that anyone does, that is not to my knowledge, but I think overall, for at least for minorities, being
Hmm.
secretive about the status of our health does hurt us in the long run. I think with me choosing to be ignorant to my own health,
Hmm.
it's just as bad. And so I do think that for those that are listening that know of any health ailments. Any ailments that they're experiencing, if you don't have people that are close to you in your life that you love and trust involved, it's not gonna be beneficial for you to keep them out. Now I understand, being selective on what you share to different
Yeah.
family members and different friends, and that's understandable. But there has to be a few people out there that's in your circle that you can express what's going on with you, so that they can be a part of your accountability team,
Yeah.
en route to optimal health. I mean, we want to we don't know how long
Yeah.
we're going to be on this earth, but
Yeah.
we want to be able to control what we can, and the duration is not something we can control per se, but the quality of our life is something that we can have a
Hmm.
significant impact on. And you definitely want to have accountability partners en route to having the best quality of life as possible.
And I agree with that because for like in some families that diabetes, like in my family, diabetes runs in the family, and I think that, and you said for those to help you to be en route to good health, to better health, because in some families, even if you share that, they'll be like, man, yeah, it runs in the family. It runs in, it runs in the family, and then it's just kind of like there's really no way to look like to break that cycle, because people are trying to feel like that it's normal.
Yeah,
Hey, it's normal when it's not something that's normal. It's not something that you should actually that we should have, we should get. I mean, it's something that we do to ourselves,
yeah,
and it's not normal. And then a lot of in a lot of black households, we think that those things are normal, you
Yeah.
know. It's, and we expect that when we get a certain age we're going to have things like high blood pressure, even though we don't want it. But it's kind of, you expect that you're going to get it, and if you get it, it's like not a big surprise, because so and so has it, and it kind of runs in the family. So that's why I asked that question, if anybody in your family had that, and how, what were their reactions, if you had any impact on them. But because it's important, that we share this with all of the quote unquote extended family, because all of you are family out there.
Yeah.
So hey, we're sharing this with you all, so that you can do better, that you can get better and get healthy. So again, the name of the title of your book is Uncomfortable Peace, and we have Emmanuel that says he likes that title.
Yeah.
So
Thank
he
you,
says, no,
Emmanuel.
yeah, he likes the title. I like the title too, because that's really good. It is an uncomfortable kind of thing to make adjustments, and have to change what you're doing. You can't stay, if you're comfortable doing what got you into a bad situation, you're going to be uncomfortable getting out of it. It's just kind of the way that it's going to be. So yeah, so it's a great title for your book. Is there anything else that, in our last remaining minutes, that you want to share with us? I mean, because we got time, so anything else that you want to share with us about your story, about your journey, um, and things like that, that will help the listeners, help people that are listening, so that they can, have some great takeaways, and things like that. And you're also a publisher. Are you were listed as a publisher as well? So are you publishing for others, or just self-publishing for yourself? How's that going to work as well? I'm curious.
So great question. Probably the last takeaway that I could make mention to all the listeners is take the time to self-educate yourself on everything that you're curious about that has to do with you. Don't take anyone else's word for it. Don't take my word for anything that I'm saying right now. Go back and do your own research to see if what I'm saying has any validity.
Hmm.
That's the best thing that any of us can do, because at the end of the day, the decisions that we make for ourselves, regardless if they're influenced by someone else or not, they're, the results of them, good, bad, or indifferent, is what we have to live with individually. And so you
Yeah.
want to be confident in the decisions that you do make for yourselves by having, as much information as possible when it
Hmm.
comes to making any decisions that you make, especially as it relates to your health. So self-education is probably the biggest thing that I can reiterate to everybody that's listening. Self-educate yourselves. I will also throw a quick plug and say self-educate yourself on water. Not all water is the same. I have a chapter in my book that's dedicated to water, on how not
Okay.
all water is the same. But there's a plethora of information out there that's accessible to us all, that we can take a look at, as we determine what's the best kind of water to consume, that won't break our pockets. Just
Okay.
wanted to leave everybody with that. As it relates to the publishing, I chose to start a publishing company so that I didn't have to give up any ownership of my book to anyone else.
Okay.
And so that's how I started. We're actually working on three other projects now, and we are looking to publish other books for other people that want to get their stories out.
Okay.
So this is just our first project. We aspire in the next 5 to 10 years to be a major publishing company, because
Okay.
it's something needed. Um, there's not a lot of red tape, at least not on our end. And, we want to help others get their stories out that they
Okay.
otherwise, haven't been able to get out at, up to date. So we're
Okay.
definitely looking for other authors, that are looking for a publisher. We can be reached at dfpublishing.org. On my website, I actually go live on the 25th of January. We're just
Okay.
finishing the final details. And also on that website, for anyone that is struggling with type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes, we'll be rolling out our diabetes accountability program.
Oh, okay.
Accountability partner program to
Okay.
be of assistance, to anyone that is looking for accountability partners during
Okay. Great.
their journey to
Good.
fighting type 2 diabetes.
Okay. All right. That's fantastic. So that's going to be available through your website as well. The
Yes, ma'am.
uh, diabetes accountability partner or
Yes, ma'am.
pre-diabetes. Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Fantastic. Fantastic. That's great. So, I mean, I had a, look, say the last word, but I had a question because because you're saying you're encouraging people to do the research and all of that. Did your doctors share with you any information aside from the prescription and slide it across the table?
Um, they told me about something called a DASH diet, and but they didn't give too much information. It was more of a like a printout of about 20 pages, and
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, the session itself was probably 15, 20 minutes. And so it was only so much they could say during that time, especially
Mm-hmm.
considering that half of that time they were out of the room. And that's okay. So they
Yeah.
did something about the dash diet, and looking to that, I realized that it just wasn't beneficial for me. And so I did my own research when it came to, what I was going to consume and why. And so I'm primarily a pescatarian, and that's been working for me, for the
Okay.
last going on year and a half, almost 2 years. But they did tell me that I could continue, having the things that I was enjoying as long as I took that particular medication, which I out of my emotions, I realized that it just didn't make any sense. And not to make myself bigger out to be bigger than what I am, but in my mind, I just figured, okay, well, I would have to rely on this particular medication for a very long time in my life if I continue to consume what was already damaging my body and got me into this position in the first place, and,
Right.
and take the easy way out and just consume this particular medication. And so, I started doing my own research in every regard because they didn't tell me about the side effects. They didn't make mention of them at all. And it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't until 6 months later I spoke to a different doctor, and I remember he asked me, "Hey, I see you were prescribed this particular medication, man. How's it going?" I told him I never took it, and he said, "Man, I'm so proud of you. I'm happy for you. Don't you know that a lot of people that take this particular medication they develop greater kidney issues than what they started out with?"
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard that, it just continued to reemphasize the positive feeling that I had on choosing not to incorporate that in my regimen en route to optimal health.
Right, right. That's so well said. So well said. I'm glad you didn't take it either. I tried to tell people, um, a lot of times, but you can't, by not being a doctor, me personally, I can't go against the doctor. But
Yeah.
I always try and tell people to do their research, just like you said. So that's really great. So let's give everybody all of your social medias, where they can find you, um, and if somebody wants an accountability partner soon before the website comes up, what do they need to do if they're needing help or wanting to, connect with somebody or talk to somebody?
Great question. So on Instagram and Facebook, I can be reached Vernon P. Davis Jr. That's V as in Victor, E as in Echo, R as in Romeo, N as in November, O as in Oscar, N as in November, P as in Paul, D as in David, A as in Alpha, V as in Victor, I as in Igloo, S as in Sierra, J as in Juliet, R as in Romeo, Vernon P. Davis Jr. And that's both Facebook and Instagram. And prior to the debut of our website, if anyone is in search of a accountability partner, please reach out to me on either of those platforms, and we can get you set up. Um, with our package that we're gonna roll out, we can get you set up and start having conversations, to assist you as you are en route to achieving optimal health and healing your body.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you and everything that you have said and shared because, I mean, and congratulations on reversing that. And that's what I always like to say that this is not, it's number one, it's not a terminal condition. Number two, it is not a hereditary condition. And so it is completely reversible with diet and diet changes and exercise. And you have to monitor, you need to know there's no one diet routine that works for everybody. There's no
Right.
universal diet, but you got to know what works for your body and then do what works for you. So I have somebody who said they were going to send me You said you were taking. Oh gosh, I can't even think of what it is now. Seaweed.
Sea
The
moss.
sea moss. Yeah, somebody said they're
Yeah.
going to send me some sea moss, so I'm like, I can't wait to get it and to try it. So yeah, so I'm really glad to hear all of the things that you have shared with us today. So thank you so much. I do thank you. And everyone, go check out his book, Uncomfortable Peace. It's available now on Amazon.com. And hey, anybody out there got a story to tell? You want to publish a book? You always thought you wanted to be an author? Check him out as well. He's got a publishing company and he can help you navigate all of that journey to get your book out there. So I'm so grateful to have you on today. Thank you so much for an encouraging and uplifting story, and keep up the good work. And I look forward to hearing more from you. And I got to get the book now because I tell everybody drink water, and you said there's different waters. So we got to get the
Yeah.
book to find out what the difference is in the waters.
Yes, indeed.
Got to
You
get the
you got it.
book.
Yeah. What I'll leave you all with this as it relates to water. Research reverse osmosis. That's a filtration process that a lot of water, a lot of bottled water is filtered through. You might want to research that. Do some extensive research on it before you
Okay.
consume another bottle of water that's filtered through reverse osmosis.
Okay. All right. But if we want to know what's good, we gotta get the book.
Yes, ma'am.
Gotta get the book, Uncomfortable Peace. Well, Vernon, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you. And everybody, again, the rebroadcast of this, the podcast, Sugar Addiction is Real Nutritional Therapy, SAIRNT, on all of the podcast streaming platforms. And you can get the video. You can go look at it again on Facebook at SAIRNT, YouTube at SAIRNT, Twitter at Some Sweet Foods, Instagram at Some Sweet Foods, and you can come back over here at Haps and you can find it here. And, so check him out. Check it out. Rebroadcast it, share it with your family and friends. Because this is something that we need to hear. Starting off 2022 the right way. Get yourself healed. Until next time, everybody. Oh, yeah, if you guys want to get some sweets, you know where you can find that at? Go to somesweet.com. All right. Until next time, everybody. Peace and blessings.